Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you saw from the name of the video and the thumbnail, today I'm going to be fixing my visors on my 2IS. My visor's the little light for the Vanity. That thing's been going in and out on me forever and I've never gotten around to fixing it. So today I'll show you how to take those visors off. We're going to open them up, see what's wrong with the inside and put them back together. It should be a pretty easy fix from what I've read and seen online. So before we get started in today's video, if you guys recall from last month or maybe 2 months ago, when I did my LED navigation swap out, I did have a little contest that ended up to give away those little door cup lights that I had for my 2IS. So we finally hit the metrics on that video and I've got these lights right here. If you guys recall from that video, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and go check out that video to see what these are. These are those little door cup lights that don't come on the IS, but they come on the GS, and I swapped them in and I had a couple extras that I'm gonna give away. It was a pretty simple requirement on the video. All you had to do is leave a comment in that video kind of telling me what you've got done to your cars. A lot of you guys left comments, but some of you guys didn't even follow the rules or directions. So I did randomly pick one of you that actually followed the rules. Looks like Lie Angels is the winner. They left a comment that said count me in on the contest, and they listed a bunch of different things that they did for their car. So I want to thank you for participating in this, and I'll go ahead and message you and also respond to a comment on that video so that you know that you're the winner. Go ahead and contact me either on Instagram or just email me. Also, for all of you that actually care, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll explain to you why I have so much junk behind me and why we have no cars in the garage today and what's going on behind me here. Anyways, let's get started with this project. So basically, here's a problem that all these 2ISs have. Once you get in here, this thing, there's a contact inside here that comes loose. So when you open this thing, your light doesn't come on. See, mine comes on this side, but over here, if you look on the passenger side, so on this side, look at that, you can slide here and it doesn't do anything. And generally, is that contact inside, if you slide it back and forth enough, it loosens it up and you get in there. But then other times that you can't, it doesn't work. On the driver's side, yeah, just a minute ago it wasn't working. I banged it a couple of times and it started working again. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take this thing apart. So you got to take this cover off right here. There's two Phillips screws in there, I think. And then once you get that off, you could drop this whole visor down, take the whole thing out, and then we're going to pop this whole thing out, and then we're going to make sure that contact is not worn down or messed up. All right, so we're in here. I'm going to get the clip and just kind of pop this thing out. Just kind of pop one side out and then just slide it. First time I'm doing this, so all right, slips right out there. And then you can kind of bend it. I get that out of the way. Just bend it and twist it and get it out of the way here. So you got that right there. So next we're going to get this, just unscrew it. Oh, look at that. It doesn't even have a wire, so it has a little plug in here that just plugs into there, so that makes it even easier than I thought. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side now. All right, one on this side, the same, pop the same way. So now that we got this off and we're inside on the table, this is pretty easy to take off. So right now there's like a little thing inside right here. There's a piece of metal in there that makes contact. We need to fix. In order to do that, you have to actually pop this little door mirror assembly off. You could actually probably try to do this on the car without taking the visor out, but I felt like taking the visor out would probably be a little bit easier. But what you do is you take this pry tool and you pry it towards the door side, closer to the door on either side of the visors. So you just basically get this under there, kind of try to pop the edges up. Try not to break it, but you need like these little pry tools right here. It's probably gonna be your best bet. So you just pop that up, pops right out of there, and then you slide it out this way. You take this whole thing out, and that's pretty simple there. So once you get this thing off, you gotta make sure that this metal clip right here and everything is straight on here, because that kind of tends to pop out. And this little piece down here too, just kind of bend that little hole back without breaking it. You want to make sure the door stays in this channel. So that's one of your problems right there. So the real cause of this thing not coming on is there's a little gold contact inside right about here. And I'll show you a little picture right now. You can see it. So that little gold contact needs to touch right here on the top of this guy. So a lot of times what happens is this thing kind of comes loose or it vibrates and it's not long enough. So the solution is to kind of put something right here. People have like taped on some little bit of tape or some plastic to kind of extend this maybe 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch on this end, and then keep it rigid so that it actually touches that thing every time. So that's what we're going to do right now with this thing. So what I'm going to do to add a little bit of space, I took a little piece of wire, I snipped a piece of it. I'm going to actually just put it right there on the edge there. Then I'm going to take this cloth tape that I use for my headlight project. It's a very strong but durable tape that I can use on here. So I'm going to just cut a couple pieces of this out and just put it on here and then wrap that wire inside of there. First thing you want to do is just kind of lay it in the back here. The back side is the interference side that's going to interfere with the mechanism. The front here you have plenty of room, so we're going to put that right there. Another piece of it just to put it on top of it just to make sure. So that should work right there. Pop everything back in place. Make sure the spring is properly bent and everything is good. Kind of test it a couple times to slide it back and forth. Make sure there's no interference with the tape and everything. Slide it back in here like this. Make sure you, like I said, try to keep this thing in track. Get it back in there and then pop this side back in and then there. So now you can kind of feel it. But before I go in there, I'm going to test the continuity. So there's 2 pins right here that you can test it. You can just use a paper clip or something and snip it. Just stick it in there. And then use your continuity tester. So right now it's open. Put that there. That's a good sign that it beeped. That sounds good, so I'm gonna fix the other side now. Back on the other side. This is the side that wasn't working earlier when I popped it out. When I was in there. So one of the things you want to do too is make sure this thing's slightly open when you're doing this, because that's where this thing has a little clip that holds it in too. So I got it in there, kind of tested it back and forth, and we got pretty much good clearance and a good wedge there. This wire might be a little bit thicker than it needs to be, but at least now we guarantee that it's gonna make contact. So I'm gonna just slide this baby back in like I did the other side. So what you do is, when popping in this side in, like I said earlier, you want to open it a little bit, or just slide it out halfway and then snap it in, and it snaps in pretty easily. And then just make sure it slides freely there. So I tested this in the car, and the passenger side is working fine now with the sliding and everything. This one, for some reason, kept on staying on, even though the door was open or closed. The only time it turned off is when you actually flip it up. It has a secondary mechanism to turn off the power to it when you leave this thing accidentally open, but you flip the visor up. So I just tested the continuity with it, this way, and so there's no continuity there. Once I flip it this way, you'll see there's continuity right there. So that works there. So you flip it back right there, no continuity. So it should work. I just took that piece of tape and that little spacer off. If I have this problem again, I'll probably just take it apart and just put a thinner piece in there. All right, so I tested it one more time and I still was having that problem of this thing shorting out. The light stayed on whether I had the thing open or closed. So what I ended up doing was I took a little clothes hanger, I bent this little corner right here, and I actually wedged it inside there. Then I kind of gauged where it needed to be, and I tried to hook that little pin switch in there, and I pulled it out a little bit because I think it was jammed closed, so it was creating a closed contact. So I think I pulled it out good enough using this, and I stuck my little phone camera in there so I could actually see where I was at. But I think I grabbed it good enough where I pulled it off so it's not touching. So I'm going to test it now to see if it works. Put the mirror back in. Let's see if it works. So it should be open circuit right now. Nothing's registering. And then if I open it all the way to make the pin switch, it reads a resistance, so that's a good sign. So we're going to go back off of that. No resistance. So I think I fixed it. I'm going to test it back in the car, make sure this works, and this should be it now. So I'm in the car now. I got everything put back together. I put the cap on. I screwed everything together. I've got this thing down, so now it works. So you can slide it open and close. I can leave it open, flap it closed, and it closes. It closes either direction there. So that's good on the driver's side. So you guys notice I got an incandescent in there. I used to have LEDs in here, but I thought the LEDs were bad, so I put an incandescent in the test. So we'll just go ahead and put the LEDs back in. So if you guys never done this before, all you do is pop it from one side, and it's just a regular 194 bulb in here. You can see right there, just a regular 194 bulb. Got that new LED bulb in. Look how freaking bright that thing is compared to what it was before. Wow. I forgot how bright this thing was, but anyway, so we'll go ahead and take care of the passenger side on the LED also. So on the passenger side, I got the LED in there. Everything works fine. Flip it up too far or flip it back, it shuts off. Everything's working nicely again. So easy fix, guys. Hey guys, thanks for joining me all the way to in this quick fix on the 2IS visors. I guarantee if you're a 2IS owner, your visors are broken like that and your vanity light doesn't come on. So if you want to fix it, it's a pretty easy fix. It's all a matter of getting that slider to actually contact the little pins inside. On my visors, after I added that little spacer, that actually got jammed and it stayed on, so I had to stick that little clothes hanger in there to get it loose. You probably need to experiment with that just to see what is really wrong with your visor. If you could just put a spacer so it makes a contact, or you have to actually separate those things so they don't stay on all the time. Anyways, as I was saying earlier, this big old mess behind me. This month, we actually just bought a new house. So if you guys are new to the channel and you don't know, I live in Gainesville, Florida. Ever since I started going to school here, I left for a little bit and I came back. I've been in Gainesville on and off over 20 years now. And for the past 13 or 14 years, I've actually been here for my job. But just after this whole year with COVID and everything, we decided it was time to relocate close to the family. So I'm actually moving to Orlando. We already got a contract on a new house down there. It's twice the house we have now, which is great for the kids. We're gonna have a pool. Best of all, we got a 4-car garage now. So I'm gonna have a lot of space for all my car stuff and all my videos. Stay tuned for that. I'll be doing a bunch of garage videos, starting with the floors, probably the cabinets, the workbench, and my little shop area. So I'm very excited about that. Right now we're in the middle of just packing all our stuff up here and just trying to get that stuff all settled in, so when we close we can start moving down there. Hopefully I can still provide some content while we're in this whole moving process and closing on this house process. I'm gonna try to get one video out once a week just to stay on top of all this stuff on the channel. But other than that, I'm going to be concentrating on moving and closing on this house. Anyways, if you guys found this video and this tutorial useful, give it a thumbs up. Remember, if I can do it, you guys can do it too. Anyways, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.